welcome back to the SML podcast. It's the Play in the Field with Field Journal 007. I'm going to call today's episode Hot Takes. We're going to go through some hot topics here in the SML world and some elsewhere. First, obviously, we have to look at the Indianapolis Colts. Primetime has guided the Colts to a 4-0 start, a 56-7 victory over the Cowboys week 1, 40-21 week 2. 59-7 week 3, and then 19-14 win last night over the Titans. Those first 3 games he pulled off. The Giants game, he was basically trying to run the clock after the third quarter. He could have took that pick 6 at the end of the Texans game, and he probably could have got at least one more touchdown out of the Cowboys game. And then last night was just, a battle. The Titans is once again proving why he, in my opinion, if you look at the SML, if you look at it in tiers of player talent, there's the elite, where you've got prime, then there's, pretty much everyone else. I mean, I guess you would say, there's the good players and then the bad players, and, the rest of us fall in those last 2 categories. But the Titans is a guy that's kind of pushing that elite status with a few of the other ones, but obviously you just got to give that to prime just because the amount of Super Bowl victories and the things that he does, through the body of work over the last, 3 Madden cycles. But I guess, if you start looking at the Colts schedule the rest of the year, they've got me next week, so that's a win. They've got the Texans, which I'm going to give them that win because they already beat the Texans once this season. They got the Redskins, I'm going to give them that win. They've got the Steelers, I'm going to give them that win. The Broncos are having an off year, so I'm giving them that win. The Jaguars are playing better right now at 3-1. I'm giving them that win, and I think this game's going to be a personal vendetta for them, Week 12 with the Eagles. I think the Colts are going to come out on top. I mean, realistically, you just go through the schedule, and I don't see why the Colts couldn't be 16-0 going into the playoffs this year. Number 1 offense, 43 points per game, 426 yards per game. Number one passing yards, 282 yards a game. Number 1 rushing, 144 yards a game. And he's got basically everything but rushing yards. He's in the top 5 defensively in those categories. The Colts they're playing really good ball right now. The Panthers had a bounce back game. They won 38-6. So you start looking around the league. You're kind of seeing, and it's early. We're only a quarter of the way through, and they always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. But the season's starting to take shape a little bit. If you look at the potential playoff teams right now, if you were to look at it, you would have the Patriots, Colts, Bengals, probably I'm going to say the Broncos. I don't know. Yeah, probably the Broncos, the Dolphins, and the Titans would be your playoff teams. The AFC and the NFC, you'd have the Cardinals, Eagles, Bears, Falcons, Cowboys, and 49ers, and that's according to Daddy Leagues. And when you look at the records, it's kind of hard to dispute that at this point in time. That NFC is going to be a close run. There's a lot of good teams, and there's a lot of good teams on the bubble. The Lions are 2-2, now the Buccaneers. That NFC South has gotten a lot more competitive. It seems like we added a lot of good talent there. This new Buccaneers owner, I haven't seen him play yet, but for him to start off 2-1, the Bucs usually start off at 0-3, 0-8. They win 2 or 3 games this season, so it's good to see a winning record for the Buccaneers. The Bears are 4-0. That's pretty impressive. And then you got teams like the Eagles, the Cardinals, everyone doing their own thing. So a lot of good teams doing impressive things throughout the SML. It's going to be a close race in the AFC East. With myself and the Dolphins, we played last night. I think he wound up having a 10 or 14 point lead. I finally got the lead. He drove it, was driving in field goal range, and then, of course, with the storm, my internet goes out, which brings me to my other 2 takes. I hate my internet. It's faster than the last service we had, but it's almost like a Wi-Fi. They send it through, somehow it transmits through the air, and there's certain things that just bother the reception. So, and they're 25 miles away, the provider. So it went out last night during the storm in the middle, right at the end of this game where, it could have went either way. I had a 1-point lead and he was driving at field goal range. I had all my timeouts. He didn't, so I could have used, ice the kicker. So great game for the internet to throw out. So that was a pisser. And the only other thing I have problems with, is Windows 10. I know this is completely off basis, but I cannot stand Windows, like the Windows 10, the way it updates. It doesn't prompt you for an update. It just randomly restarts your computer. You could be in the middle of watching a porno or doing some kind of, important business work, and then your computer restarts right in the middle of whatever you're doing. It doesn't care if you're doing a podcast or whatever, and it's just going to restart whenever it wants. So I don't care for that at all. But that's kind of where we're at with random hot takes. But yeah, good luck to everyone in the SML. Congratulations on where everyone's at right now. It'd be interesting to see where people go the rest of the season. I'm hoping to get some people back on the podcast. It's just kind of hard to when I have time to do one, and also match it up with other people's free time. So that's kind of why it's just easier for me to do like a solo podcast, and I can kind of pump them out a little bit quicker that way. Anyway, let me know if you like the content, if you want to keep seeing more videos. And if you don't, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Sim Madden League, on iTunes for the podcast, from Prime or SoundCloud. We're all over. Links in the description below. Like, subscribe, take care, have a great day.